You've got a continuation of public hearing here on the agenda, so you should again continue to date certain, right?
You have to continue to do certain.
Yeah.
That's your public hearing. More of an educational.
Right.
The meeting that we're talking about isn't a hearing, though, it's a meeting to discuss. And so that's going to be based on the availability of the people who are planning it, but everyone in the community is welcome to it. So if we want to get the word out more, for example, we could send the information about it to the newsletter to be posted, if that would help get more people in. We've been promoting our meetings by word of mouth and with a Facebook app. And we did discuss at the meeting on the 4th that not enough people really are on social media for it to be a broad swath of people to come. So we'd like to promote it in more ways than simply just via like emails or social media.
So in addition to the public hearing?
Yeah, the public hearing would be after we have like our meeting to discuss it more. The hearing, I mean, we don't see the hearing as the place where we're actually having discussion. We see that more as when things get voted on. We feel like the discussion happens in a just lower stakes environment where people can talk with each other.
Ideally, what I'd like to see is probably schedule a meeting, an educational meeting.
Yeah, that's what we just did.
Yeah, but I mean, but open it up with enough time to use the resources we have, to use the overheads to show, to explain. I think that would generate more input. I'm not adverse to doing it on a Saturday when people aren't working, running home, trying to get dinner and come out to a meeting and getting the kids ready for doing homework at night. I don't know. We should come up with some type of meeting.
Yeah, we're open to that. We actually asked for that and we were told that that took too long. Well, I'm not trying to be fresh, but we asked for that and we were told that that was too time consuming.
I think last time they thought it would be in conjunction with the said council meeting. For you, I could misunderstand.
No, I think you're correct.
And this way, your workshop is excellent because there's conversation back and forth, and if you got 25, we can double that.
Yeah.
It would be good. And with your background and grouping, etc. It's like teachers.
We would love to do that. We wanted to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think there should be any problem of using any buildings.
Okay. So what's the way that we're going to pick the date?
Well, I think that we should have the, you want to have, I get what you're saying, more of an informal kind of meeting workshop. So
we did do that, like Tom presented, just to let you know, because I don't think any of you guys were there. Tom presented, he educated us on the comp plan, the planning board gave some input, and then the audience asked questions, but it didn't entail slide presentations or large maps. We had small paper maps, and we had copies of the policy and action tables. And then we asked questions. Yeah.
I'll try to schedule something. So I heard previously that it would take roughly a month to incorporate the notes and the thoughts that took place at the meeting you've already conducted. 2 meetings, there's nothing wrong with 2 meetings. Hopefully attendance will be better. If it's not, we made an effort to incorporate everybody in town that's interested to come to this. So I think it's just a scheduling issue.
Yeah. So do you want to try and work together with
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Would you prefer us to just set a date to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Before.
what are your feelings for a Saturday? I don't even know what my
Well, again, I'm going a array in my head here. You're going to continue to a date certain because
Yes.
of budget, right? So you're going to do that.
well, we're going to continue this, we're talking this.
As a council, your public hearing process,
But you can do we can do schedule your meeting anytime you want.
if you're offering to do that for us, that's fine. We would just, typically what we've done before is we just did it ourselves. I can post it as an agenda, a workshop. And I'm thinking you're just going to act as your role as a council. And
Yeah, but we're also, I feel I'm also a taxpayer, but I may be enlightened on different things, and I think it's great.
Yeah, and if you want to
Seek the
attend,
input, and I'm always open for it.
I can even forward you the agenda when we set that next workshop.
That'd be great.
Tom, what I was looking at earlier, I wasn't being rude and texting, I was looking at a calendar of everybody.
Yeah, me too.
So what I looked at the second Monday, which was November 19th, for
Right.
us to continue this public hearing.
That's what I was saying.
So if we can have something happen in between that time,
That's
a
what I'm
reasonable
thinking.
amount of time for notes to be incorporated, or at least to be disseminated to everybody, I think that we could continue this to November 19th, and hopefully that gives
Yeah,
all
that's
groups
fine.
involved enough time to schedule and promote and have a turnout. 'Cause, Cynthia, if you remember correctly, last time we looked at comp plan, we were at the high school auditorium, and it was pretty much full. It was, so there is a lot, the word has to get out a little better than what it has been.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing on the comprehensive plan to November 19th, town council meeting.
I second that motion.
We need to vote on it?
Yes.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Bottomoli? Yes. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Biragad?
Yes.
And then item B, which is discussion or action, just be continued to the same day.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, moving on to number 5. Zoning ordinance amendment, section 18, promotion of stone wall preservation. A, discussion by council vote on other action pursuant to Article 5, Section 10 of the town charter, providing notice of return of this unsigned ordinance by the town administrator. So I'll make a motion to receive the
Veto message.
veto message. I'll make a motion to receive the veto message from the town administrator. That's a motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Bottomoli? Yes. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Biragad?
Yes. Okay, and then discussion by council vote on other action pursuant to Article 5, section of the town charter on reconsideration by town council on this ordinance returned by the town administrator.
Mr. President, because the ordinance will be returned to you from the town administrator, it cannot become law unless you re-vote. That's why that second provision doesn't have to go to charter reads. You
Okay.
have to re-vote to go forward, one way or the other. And it's a 3/5 vote.
Okay. Mrs. Zosky, did you want to speak on this?
Well, my letter, and I'll read everything that I put forward, but clearly what I tried to express is that I don't believe either this ordinance or the next one to follow are good regulations for the town of West Smithfield. I say that with a background that I think in part is the reason I sit here today. And that for a good number of years I've been regarded as someone who has been an advocate for clear, predictable, and reliable regulation across the state. And again, I'll say neither of these ordinances, to save some time for the next one, represent that. As I said in my letter to you on the Stonewall Ordinance, the 1939 defining parameter is an overreach. There are walls that clearly are not historic, that will be encumbered by this ordinance and cause opportunity for pursuit of people with fines that should be left to their own decision-making as to how they will deal with a responsibility as it relates to walls that shouldn't be regulated, whether they be structural, non-structural, or decorative. Examples, we have a stone wall out in front of the town hall that was just modified by the state. We have substantial walls along School Street, one of which was just replaced, that are structural. That replacement with the in-kind materials is from an engineering standpoint, is not a simple process and could become an enormous burden to the property owners involved. I'll say, as I've said to you, make no mistake, I share the interest in preserving every foot of the walls that have value. Mr. Smith's information that came to you at our last meeting that speaks to walls and other structures that have potential to be thousands of years old are artifacts of a prior civilization, is the way I look at them, and deserve in every way to be protected. But that, to put those kinds of elements into the same category as the wall in front of Town Hall, or many others that exist through town that exist on private property that have been built as retaining walls and the like, is inappropriate. There are other aspects of this that I point out that, we reference something called a contingency repair bond that we have no definition for, that we need a definition for if there is to be such a requirement. This ordinance, as it's structured, places the entire burden on the building official with no criteria as to how he or she is to judge whether a change is significant or insignificant. That in itself is a circumstance that invites the wrong kind of conclusions or regulation as a community. So, the charter requires that I either sign, not sign, or indicate my objections. I find it my responsibility to indicate my objection to these ordinances as they are written.
Anyone else?
Mr. President, I would like to enter into the record a letter that we received electronically from Mr. Scott Lentz. It's dated October 15, 2018. It contains 4 pages, and then it also has attached to the copies of Stonewall Ordinance and dimensional regulations as well. Mr. Lentz, as most people know, I believe he's an engineer as well. He's a member of the Ordinance Review Committee. He's the chair. He's the vice chair of the Planning Board, and he's a member of the Economic Development Commission, so he's well versed as well. This was in response to the administrator's letter of October 10th, so I would like to enter this into the record for the public record, Mr. President. That's a motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Roll call.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Biragad?
Yes. Is everybody from who's here from the audience review? Mr. McGee had a question,
I had a question, with the Stonewall ordinance, say, for instance, we were after getting, 27 Main Street, which has a stone wall in it. Now, say we purchased that, and this is an ordinance. Now we're stuck with this stone wall? Can we take it down to open the entrance of that? That was our thinking,
This is, yeah.
Good evening, Paul Soares, Skelton Road, member of the Ordinance Committee. First of all, I'd like to address a couple of points that the town administrator made. He says that he doesn't believe there's any historical value to stone walls.
Just to be fair, he did say not all stone walls have historical value.
Right. but he takes exception with the date of 1939. I left my reading glasses over there. Be right back.
Well, I know that too, Mr. Soares.
No fun getting old.
Mr. Soares, can we just humor us and work it backwards? If you could answer Mrs. McGee's question first and then go...
Certainly.
Thank you.
Sorry. Question is, what do you do with the stone wall at 27 Main Street because you want to make a cut for a driveway?
Right, I want to make a road right in there.
The ordinance?
I want it to come down.
The ordinance provides for that.
The ordinance, now, what do we have to see?
Mr. Johnson.
And we just say, Mr. Johnson, we'd like to take that down, and that's okay?
I believe so. That's the way the ordinance reads. So you just apply to remove it for a good reason, building a driveway or building a house, as the case may be, if it's a part of a stone wall in the way. Sure, that's a good reason.
Even though they'll say, oh, it was historical, there's no problem. I mean, how long will it take? Will it take me a year? I'm not going to get tied up in red tape.
I can't answer that. You
Well, that's
know.
what I want to know. I'm not going to pass something that I don't know.
I can't answer that
Yeah,
question.
well, it could be tied up forever. That's my fear. If I want to build something, I want to do something. I don't want it in 3 years. I don't want to go around, have to hire a lawyer or whatever.
Why do you think it would be a drawn-out process?
Because everything's a drawn-out process. I'm used to reality in the life of North Smithfield and everything that goes on, and Rhode Island, for that matter. And I just like things to move, and I hate things standing in our way and people blocking things with different ordinances. I'm not just saying the stone wall, but there's been a number of things where developers have done stuff, and then all of a sudden there's an ordinance blocking that job. It happens all the time, you know. So I mean, I'm just I'm just sick of people coming up with ordinances to block other things. It's just like a strategy, it seems, all the time. So that's why I'm asking in advance. Tell me that I can take that down. If I buy North Main Street, 27 Main Street, I don't have to wait for months. I can just go to Mr. Johnson and say, Mr. Johnson, we're putting a road in there. Is that okay? And I want him to say, yeah. I want to know, why can't I know? If we got this ordinance that's all set to go, there should be something that says, Tommy, that's exactly right. You can do it right now. Or else if you say, well, I don't know means, oh, I don't know. I'm not voting, I don't know.
I think,
Put this to rest, CJ.
I think you're overreacting, and
No,
I would not be the person doing the enforcement, so you're asking me a question I cannot
Well, the
answer.
man who is here, CJ?
But it's not, that's not actually building official.
Yeah, let me clarify. The ordinance does say the building official makes that determination, so I would not have anything to do with that. So it would be the building official to review the ordinance and make the determination.
May I take an attempt at this, Mr. President?
Go ahead.
If the town is looking to get ingress and egress or make it safer to get into a particular town-owned property, and this is an ordinance, and if the town council votes to open this up, I'm pretty sure that the town building inspector would not stall this out. Nobody stall it out for anyone else, whether it be a town initiative or a private development. I don't see this being a long, protracted problem. I feel this could happen quickly, especially when it involves safety of getting into public spaces. And Tom, I don't see it being a problem, honestly.
Well, like I said, I don't want to hear maybe, but maybe the town might be okay. But what about the local guy who says, geez, I have the same thing, but it's my property. I want to do what North Smithfield does. I bet you he's not going to have the same result we have.
Tom, he can go before the building official to get the okay to do it. Remember that if a wall is partially removed, it's acid, it's kind of rounded off and fixed at the end, it's not left jagged. This whole ordinance is to promote and to protect our heritage, our culture, our history. It is not to prohibit development. And I think people keep getting hung up on that we're going to stop development. That's not the intent. The intent is to protect as much as possible.
The way I read it,
they would need the details and the reconstruction plan. So does it need to be reconstructed somewhere on site?
I don't read it that way. It is,
And then,
May I, Mr. President?
Go ahead, Mr.
I
Duffy.
mean, this is exactly the circumstance that I have great concern over, in that we're delivering a decision to an official with no firm guidelines. It becomes that individual's opinion as to whether or not a plan is prudent or imprudent. And, you know, the building official is accustomed to dealing with the circumstance of, are those studs 16 inches on center or are they not? Finite direction is what is appropriate for regulation. Where we get into, you know, we're going to regulate by the opinion of the building official, where he or she has no finite standard. We're going into a circumstance that is going to be uncomfortable. And that's the core of my reasoning for telling you that I cannot sign this ordinance.
and can I say another thing? Coming up with School Street over near the VFW, right? Having to put a concrete wall because the guy found out it was his responsibility. There's more walls to come. So does that mean like there's one piece of concrete and the other people would have to, you know, go back to the stone wall because everyone likes it, and that the next person has to do all stone just like that, but there's already a,
Oh, they can't tell.
you know, or could we just do all concrete there? I mean, just like, who does judge this? I don't understand. I'd hate to see